Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show this morning on the 29th of Wednesday, November 2023. Thank you for tuning in and glad to have you guys here. Let's get started. We're going to take a look here. There's a bottleneck on the Panama Canal, and it's forcing top tanker operators to reroute the ships. Panama Canal is one of the most important trade routes. It cuts off a tremendous amount of distance for the ships. It says here that the second half of this year, we have deleted in depth about the parking lot of commercial vessels being on either side of the canal amid worsening drought conditions across Central America. This has reduced the number of ships sailing through the waterway, as the bottleneck has forced one of the world's largest operators of chemical tankers to reroute its fleet. Bottleneck in the Panama Canal is going to be a big deal for shipping. It says the canal has been battered by severe drought this year, caused by the El Nino phenomenon. And it shows a close-up picture of how the canal works there and how it goes through Panama. Now, in other news, Elon Musk has confirmed that Cybertruck's deliveries are going to start on Thursday. People are going to start to get their Cybertrucks, I guess. Some people are saying that Cybertruck is the best product that Tesla has ever created. It's certain they certainly would make an excellent bug-out vehicle for people who have enough money to purchase one. I would love to have one, but but that ain't gonna happen. Well, with a purchase price what they're asking, it says what does it say here about the price? I guess they're like $100,000 or something. They're really expensive, but they're really something, because that would make the best bug-out vehicle, in my estimation, if you did have an electrical vehicle. And if you carried your own, maybe make a trailer behind it or something like that and put all kinds of solar panels. You could essentially drive cross-country with no gas stations. Just operating off of solar, I think, anyway, North Korea claims that it aspires. Well, listen, a few years ago, North Korea launched this enormous spy satellite. It's been up there all along. And some people theorize that maybe they got an EMP or a nuke inside it. Maybe. Nobody knows what they got inside. It's been up there, goes beep, 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 flies right across, right over our heads. Every several hours as it goes around and around the Earth. And it's been up there for years now. Now they got a second one. They just launched it not long ago. And it says that it has photographed the White House and it's photographed the Pentagon. It says North Korea has claimed it recently launched a satellite and has sent back detailed images of the White House and detailed images to the Pentagon and detailed images of U.S. nuclear aircraft carriers that have been viewed by the regime's leader, Kim Jong-un. I mean, might as well laugh as cry. I think North Korea is getting pretty much in a position where you don't want to mess with them. They got so many nuclear weapons. And a good way of bringing the nuclear weapons to your door. They've rocketry. Look, years ago, I think it was during the Trump administration, when they were calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man. Somebody did anyway. The reason why is because they are so ingenious about building rockets. They were the first. Look, over there in Asia, that's where rocketry began. gunpowder began over in Asia. They learned how to make gunpowder and how to use it. And basically rockets, they've never come that far from where they originated. You know, the 4th of July, when you take that little bottle rocket and you slip it down into a Pepsi bottle or something, you light it and it goes psss, and it shoots up into the air and goes bang. That's the same technology they use in these big rockets. Of course, there's two basic types of technology used in the big rockets. There's liquid propelled and there's solid propelled. But the solid propelled are turning out to be the best, especially in warfare, because they can be launched almost immediately. And you know, the North Koreans have perfected both types of rockets. They're very advanced. Don't ever underestimate what North Korea can do. People don't know. Years ago, I was reporting on North Korea, and I said that they were building these ICBMs. They've probably been building 2 or 3 a month ever since then for like the last 4 years. They could have hundreds. And they're well-made ones. Don't ever underestimate North Korea and their power. Now, why I got this article on here? It says Haiti's gang wars are having cataclysmic impacts on the access to food staples for the people. You see, when a country starts to devolve, starts to collapse, their infrastructure starts to collapse, their monetary system starts to collapse, and everything starts to collapse, criminal gangs form. This is what happened in the fall of the former Soviet Union in and around places like Moscow and stuff during the collapse of the former Soviet Union. And don't ever underestimate these gangs. They'll hoard food, they'll hoard guns, they'll hoard medicines, they'll hoard everything that you need to survive. And then how do they protect it? With their gang members of these they form. It's almost like certain elements can come together to form crime. Collapsing civilization is the perfect condition. They're already sort of undergoing a collapse right here in Haiti. That's why I wanted to point this out. It says Haiti's brutal gang wars have spread from the capital to key farming heartlands, displacing tens of thousands of people and having devastating impact on food staples, the United Nations has warned. Violence has gradually escalated in the regions, I guess. And it lists murders, looting, kidnappings, widespread sexual violence, and everything else in Haiti. Coming soon to a shore near you, because we are undergoing a worldwide economic collapse. This is not even a depression that exceeds a depression. And we're on the front side of this thing. So, on the back side of this thing, people review the show I had today, and they'll say, hey, Glenn was right. The whole thing. But it's such a slow collapse. And on the front side of this thing, it's going down so slowly that a lot of people are lulled to sleep thinking that the world's always been the way it is, always going to be. And meanwhile, they're not witnessing the little things that are happening that's leading us toward this at a very rapid pace. Israel's Hamas truce enters its 6th day. They're working toward another potential extension of the truce between Israel and Hamas. But the one they have now is into its 6th day. Now there's another group of hostages evidently to be freed on Wednesday. That's today. Key mediator Qatar is very optimistic an extension will be announced in the coming hours, a foreign ministry spokesman told CNN. Negotiations are moving towards civilian men being released. Okay. So the war is not over, but it's took a 6-day pause, which the extension could go on longer. We'll wait and see. I wanted to talk about that mystery illness in China. I'm getting some reports that could be rumors. So I'm not going to mention what they are on here because we only deal with facts. And I want to make sure they're verified first before I say anything about that. But the mystery illness is spreading through China. And it says, how is India preparing? Okay, mystery illness. This smacks of possibly something very bad. Dare I say the P word, pandemic. But it's not yet because we don't really know what it is, or we don't want to send up alarm bells too early in something like this. But I heard the Netherlands is getting cases of something. Don't know if it's the same thing as this. But I'm going to tell you guys, you ever heard the old saying of a knockout punch? What's a knockout punch? They used to call it the old 1-2. First you get hit. You know? It's kind of like a car. A car could run into a brick wall. And the brick wall doesn't go much of anywhere. But you pull the car away after the car runs into the brick wall and take a close look and analysis of the brick wall. And you see its structural integrity. Even though the wall didn't fall, the structural integrity has been broken. There's all kinds of tiny little cracks in the bricks everywhere now. Now, if another car ran into that exact same spot, it would be the end of the wall because the first car weakened it sufficiently so that now that it's weakened, if the second car hits it, it's going to bust it all to pieces. Even though it's still standing. It took a tremendous hit. It was weakened. This is what's happened to us with COVID. COVID was like the car running into a brick wall, but all the cracks are still there. It weakened the system's structural integrity tremendously. So, if this is another car going to smash into the wall, we ain't going to take it. And I say we ain't going to take it is our structural integrity has been weakened to the point where it will bring the system down. If we get another major pandemic, it will bring the system down. Because the system now has got so many cracks in it. Cracks are trying to fill, but they haven't been able to because it's just so extensive. It'll bring the system down. Especially if it's a bad pandemic. We can't afford it. It's like the old saying, kiss your ass goodbye. If this is another... So, and especially, would be especially bad is now this is just theoretical, I'm just talking. I mean, don't go panicking or anything like that because we don't know yet what this is. This could just be a bunch of kids getting sick with pneumonia from different things. Because it is that flu season time of year. But if it's another pandemic, the system won't handle it now. We're too close to the last one. We haven't had enough breathing room, enough healing time. And the last one almost brought us down. I remember cities burning in the United States during the last one. How much closer do you want to come to pandemonium than that? We barely held things together through the last one. It was on a razor blade's edge. But that's not healed. I've spoken enough about it. It would be tremendously bad. Not to count the damage. And children. This thing, if it is, it attacks children. Pray that this thing is not that. Make it. Think in your mind. Just stop for a second. Think to yourself, Make it go away. Make it go away. And if you can't do that, if you're a person that prays. Do what you want to do, but everybody focus at making this thing go away. We don't need it. We need it about like we need the proverbial hole in the head. We don't need this thing. Cryptocurrency today. Bitcoin is at 37,683. It's doing well. Ethereum's at 2021, and XRP's at 60.7 cents. So cryptos are doing okay today. Look at that silver price. Let's just look at it again for a second. $24.98. Looks a hell of a lot better than it did just a couple weeks ago. Gold at 2040. So there we go. You know, the alternative assets right now are doing really well. Alternatives to the fiat Ponzi scheme. And, you know, you would think, you know, in this world with all the things that you can buy, all the different varieties and different things, like, you'd think that there'd be many, many, many alternatives to the dollar. But for the longest time, there was only gold and silver. Now the new kids on the block, you know, cryptos. But that's it. Just gold, silver, and cryptos. That's not much of an avenue out, considering how big the dollar is and the other fiat currencies. So very, very small, narrow road leading out. One lane. Right? And you know, now this just emphasizes my point that when there's the big mad panic and everybody tries to drive down that one little narrow road, they ain't going to get through. But right now it's handling the traffic. Right now is the time to get out of the dollar. Don't wait until the panic and everybody wants to get out of the dollar because it's only a tiny little narrow road. Meanwhile, take a look at the highway. It's 8 lanes wide on both sides. The dollar highway. Everybody's on it. None of them taking notice. Take a look here at crude oil. The Dow. The Dow is up a little bit. It's 35,417. Crude oil today is up 8 cents at 76.49. Taking a look at bonds and rates today. We're seeing falling yields again. U.S. 10 years at 4.28. It's fell 5.4 basis points. And the U.S. 30-year is at 4.47, and it's fell 5.1 basis points. Now, the U.S. dollar index looks like it's going up today, but it's only going up marginally, and it's at 102.91. Thank you guys for listening to my show. I really appreciate my audience. You guys have a great afternoon. And we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.